What if one childhood mistake could shatter 3 lives forever? On a quiet Boston street, 3 neighborhood boys play street hockey when everything goes wrong. Their ball rolls into a drain, and the boy in the red cap, Dave Boyle, gets blamed. Jimmy Markham, the daring one, jokes that they should steal a car, but Sean Devine, the cautious friend, shuts it down. With nothing else to do, Jimmy writes his name in wet cement. Sean joins him, and before Dave can finish, a black car pulls up beside them. A man in a suit steps out, acting like a detective. He scolds them for ruining the cement and asks where they live. When he hears Dave lives farther away, he orders him into the car to drop him home. Nervous but obedient, Dave gets in. The car drives off, leaving Jimmy and Sean frozen on the sidewalk. Later, they tell the neighbors, assuming Dave was picked up by the police. But the truth is darker. Dave has been kidnapped, locked in a basement deep in the woods for days, and abused in ways no one ever fully hears about. Everyone knows he was hurt badly, and after he escapes, he slowly drifts away from his childhood friends, buried under silent scars. Years pass. Dave now lives quietly, cheering for his young son at baseball, though his smile fades whenever they pass the street where he was taken. Sean becomes a detective, still good-hearted, but his personal life collapses. His pregnant wife walked out 6 months ago without a word. Sometimes she calls, says nothing, then hangs up. Jimmy, once a street troublemaker, now runs a small convenience store, trying to bury his criminal past. One evening, his eldest daughter, Katie, drops by to ask if she can go out with her friends. Jimmy agrees but reminds her to come home early. Her little sister's first communion is the next morning. Katie smiles, waves goodbye, and walks out, not knowing it's the last time she'll ever see her father. That night, Katie and her friends go to a local bar, where Dave is drinking alone. The girls laugh, drink, and dance on the bar counter. Unaware, Dave is quietly watching from his stool. He recognizes Katie, but doesn't speak, just sits with his beer as a baseball game plays on TV. Hours later, around 3 in the morning, Dave comes home covered in blood, shaken and pale. He tells his wife he was attacked by a robber and may have killed the man in self-defense. She bandages his injured hand and tries to calm him, not realizing this night is about to drag the whole neighborhood back into the darkness they thought was gone. The next morning, 2 boys call 911 to report an abandoned car in the middle of the road. Door open, blood smeared on the seat. When the operator asks their names, they panic and hang up. That same morning, Dave wakes up acting like nothing happened, trying to pass it off as a normal day. Across town, Detective Sean Devine and his partner, Powers, arrive at the scene. The car belongs to Jimmy Markham, Sean's childhood friend. There's no body, only a bloody clot in the sense that something terrible has happened. Jimmy, unaware of this, waits at his store expecting Katie to stroll in. 2 local boys, Brendan and Ray Harris, stop by and casually ask about her. Jimmy's voice tightens as he says she hasn't been around, reminding them it's his younger daughter's first communion. He forces a polite smile, while worry slowly spreads across his face. After the ceremony, Jimmy steps outside and sees police cars blocking the road. When he spots Katie's car, his heart drops. Fear turns to panic as he runs towards him, demanding answers. Soon, the truth lands like a hammer. Katie is gone. Her body has been found in a nearby park, lying inside an old bear trap. The sight destroys him. Sean is assigned to the case, forced to investigate his old friend's nightmare. He asks Jimmy about anything unusual before Katie's death, knowing Jimmy's past is full of dangerous people. Jimmy insists nothing strange happened, except Katie looking at him differently that day, almost like she was saying goodbye. He also mentioned Brendan Harris stopping by the shop, maybe trying to see her. Forensics later confirmed Katie died from a head injury caused by the trap, not from a gunshot or beating. They also find a travel bag stuffed with Las Vegas flyers and hotel brochures. She was planning to leave the city. Her backpack in the car holds more Las Vegas pamphlets and a hotel list.
Meanwhile, Dave's wife Celeste grows more uneasy. The timing of his bloody return gnaws at her, and guilt builds in her chest. That evening, Jimmy bumps into Dave outside the house. Through tears, Jimmy blames himself for Katie's death, feeling like leaving his criminal life cursed his family. When he asks about Dave's injured hand, Dave casually says he slammed it in a door, but his eyes won't meet Jimmy's. Elsewhere, Sean and Powers question a woman who lives near where Katie's car was found. She says she heard no argument, only a simple greeting, then a single gunshot. Sean realizes the killer was likely someone Katie knew and trusted. Later, the detectives visit Katie's friends to piece together her last night. The girls reveal it was a farewell party. Katie was planning to run away to Las Vegas with her boyfriend, Brendan Harris. When the police bring Brendan in, he breaks down and admits their plan to escape and secretly marry. That night, guilt and fear hang over everyone. At Jimmy's place, Celeste drinks quietly, wanting to confess her doubts about Dave, but unable to speak. Across town, Sean sits alone in his apartment, staring at the ringing phone. On the other end is his estranged wife, still silent, still unreachable, like a ghost from a lost life. The next day, Sean and Powers keep questioning everyone who last saw Katie alive. Their search leads them to Dave. Both notice his injured hand, but hold back, focusing on his story. Dave calmly says Katie was cheerful and left the bar around 12:45. When Sean asks what time he got home, Dave lies and says 1:15. After they leave, Sean and Powers quietly share their doubts. Powers is sure something's off. Dave's hand, his connection to Katie, no signs of a struggle near her car, and the witness who heard Katie greet someone before the gunshot. Every clue seems to point back to Dave. Later, they visit Jimmy's house and are surprised to find Dave there again. When Powers casually asks about the wound, Dave repeats another lie, saying he heard it throwing out garbage. Both detectives sense he's hiding something, but let him go for now. Outside, Celeste sees the police and tries to slip away, but Sean stops her. Gently, he asks what time Dave came home that night. Nervous and shaky, she says she doesn't know because she fell asleep early. Sean can tell she's lying. Her voice trembles with fear. Later, the detectives tell Jimmy what they've learned, including Katie's secret plan to run off to Vegas with Brendan. When Sean asks why Jimmy hates Brendan's family, Jimmy explains that Brendan's father, Just Ray Harris, was a criminal who ditched his pregnant wife years ago. Jimmy feared Brendan would follow the same path, so he kept Katie away from him. Sean warns Jimmy not to send his own guys digging for answers, and Jimmy nods, but deep down everyone knows he'll never stop until he finds whoever hurt his daughter. Soon, the investigation uncovers a spent bullet casing that helps identify the gun type. Tracking it leads them to a nearby liquor store. The owner says the robbers who once hit their shop must have been insiders. They used the back door. Checking old employee records, Sean and Powers find one name that jumps out, Just Ray Harris. It's their first solid lead, but they still can't shake their suspicion of Dave. Powers reminds Sean that Dave has always lived on the edge, still carrying childhood trauma. At home, Dave's guilt and frustration boil over. He argues with Celeste, sensing she's starting to believe he killed Katie. Desperate, he swears he only fought a robber that night. Then he breaks down and admits something darker. The real Dave, the boy who was taken, never came back. The man standing here is just a shadow. His words terrify Celeste, and realizing how broken he sounds, Dave quietly walks out to clear his head. Wandering the streets, he runs into Jimmy again. Jimmy sits in the cold, saying he's still waiting for his daughter, like he always did when she came home late. Dave admits he saw Katie at the bar that night, and remembered how happy she looked walking out, not knowing it would be the last time anyone saw her alive. The next morning, when Sean reaches the office, he finds out Powers has already called Dave in. Powers says they found blood in the trunk of Dave's car that matches Katie's. Sean argues Katie died in the park, not in a car, but since Dave is there, he goes ahead with the interview. Sean calmly questions him about his hand and the blood in the trunk. This time, Dave changes his story again. He says his hand was cut on a fence while reaching for a ball, not a door. As for the blood, he claims he has no idea, saying his car must have been stolen that night. With no solid evidence to hold him, the detectives let him go and refocus on the Harris family. News of Dave's interrogation spreads fast through the neighborhood and quickly reaches Jimmy. Jimmy still suspects Brendan, but his crew insist Brendan truly left Katie. They start to think Dave might be the real killer. Jealous, unstable, haunted since childhood, Jimmy listens silently as doubt digs deeper into his mind. At the same time, Sean and Powers keep digging into Just Ray's record. They learned he was a small-time crook, liquor store robberies, stolen goods, smuggling illegal cigarettes. He was never sentenced, he simply disappeared. There's no clear reason he'd suddenly come back just to hurt his son's girlfriend. But one detail stands out. His old partners once included Jimmy and his brothers. The case is now tangled with old grudges and missing answers. The detectives visit Just Ray's former lawyer, hoping for clarity. The lawyer hints that Just Ray once betrayed Jimmy, and that betrayal might have led to his disappearance. Hearing this, Sean and Powers question Brendan again. Brendan admits he barely remembers his father and last saw him when he was 6. Then, to their surprise, he says his father is still alive and sends money every month. That changes everything. Sean realizes the killer used Just Ray's gun, meaning someone close to Brendan must have taken it. Brendan, however, refuses to believe his father even owned a gun. Meanwhile, Celeste can no longer carry her guilt. She secretly meets Jimmy and finally confesses that Dave came home that night covered in blood. Jimmy looks her straight in the eye and asks if she truly believes Dave did it. Shaking, in tears, she nods. In that moment, Jimmy's doubts harden into certainty. Later that day, Jimmy's crew picks up Dave, pretending they just want a few beers. Dave, not sensing the danger, goes along, walking into trouble again, just like when he got into that car as a boy. At the station, Sean and Powers keep working the case. They're still not sure if Just Ray is alive, but one thing becomes clear. Brendan has been lying about the gun. When Sean replays the 911 call, something clicks. The boys who reported the car sound nervous, and when asked for their names, one of them slips and uses a word that reveals the victim's gender. They couldn't have known the victim was a girl unless they were involved. Meanwhile, at the bar, drinks keep coming. Dave laughs weakly with Jimmy's men, not realizing they're just waiting for Jimmy's signal. As evening falls, Jimmy starts talking about Just Ray, the man who betrayed him long ago, but also helped his family while Jimmy was in prison. Then, staring toward the Mystic River, Jimmy quietly admits he killed Just Ray the day he got out. Dave's smile disappears. He knows what's coming. Trying to save himself, he confesses he did kill someone that night, but insists it wasn't Kate. He described a man he saw abusing a child in a car, how rage took over, and how he beat the man to death. But Jimmy doesn't believe him. No body was ever found. The tension peaks. Jimmy's eyes burn with grief and rage. He demands the truth one last time, promising he won't hurt Dave if he just comes clean. Desperate, Dave breaks down and says he killed Katie out of jealousy for her youth and happiness. Before he can finish, Jimmy quietly pulls a knife and stabs him, then shoots him to be sure. The river watches silently as another soul sinks into the night. At the same time, Brendan sits at home waiting for his younger brother. When the boy finally comes back, Brendan explodes. He grills him about Katie, and the boy denies everything. Then Brendan finds the hidden gun case. He punches his brother and his friend, demanding the truth. In panic, the friend pulls a gun and points it at Brendan. Just then, Sean and Powers burst in. They calmly talk the boy down, urging him to drop the weapon. In one quick move, Sean disarms him and arrests both boys. The next morning, Sean visits Jimmy, who sits silently in front of his house, lost. Sean tells him straight they found the real killers. Jimmy just stares, confused. Sean explained it was Just Ray's younger son and his friend. That night, the boys had found Just Ray's hidden gun and were playing with it when Katie drove by. Curious, she stopped. In a careless moment, the gun went off and the bullet hit her. Panicking, they begged her not to tell anyone, but Katie ran toward the park to escape. There, she tripped and fell into a bear trap. The wound killed her before anyone could reach her. Sean finishes and quietly asks if Jimmy knows where Dave is. Jimmy says nothing, his hands trembling. Sean adds they found another man's body in the woods, beaten to death. Jimmy slowly stands and points toward the road where he once saw Dave as a kid. Sean looks at him and understands. Jimmy has already taken justice into his own hands. With quiet disappointment, Sean asks if Jimmy will send money to Dave's family, the way the Harris family used to help him. Jimmy doesn't answer and walks away, crushed by the weight of what he's done. Later, Sean finally gets a real call from his wife. She apologizes for leaving and tells her their daughter's name. For the first time, his voice softens, and the distance between them begins to close. Days later, during the town parade, Jimmy quietly tells his wife he killed Dave, believing he was Katie's murderer. She hugs him tightly, saying he only did what he thought he had to do to protect their family. Her words give him a small moment of relief. Across the street, Sean walks with his wife and daughter, blending into the crowd. He spots Celeste, Dave's wife, still waiting, still hoping Dave will appear to watch their son march in the parade. Sean's eyes drift to Jimmy. He raises his hand, shapes his fingers like a gun, and points it playfully across the street. Jimmy notices, then just shrugs it off. Between them, a silent understanding hangs in the air before it disappears into the noise of the parade.